Caregiver guilt really bit me in the butt yesterday, but I realized that it was just covering up caregiver grief. I am the caregiver for my husband who's living with Lewy body dementia, and I had to take him to the dentist yesterday. Thankfully, he managed to tell me that, or indicate that a tooth hurt, because a lot of times, A, those living with dementia can't feel pain in the same way, and B, they can't express what's going on if they're uncomfortable. So I was glad he told me, and sure enough, he has some decay in teeth that are, and it's progressing. So the only option is for them to extract the teeth, because he couldn't go through like a root canal process. And I felt so terrible. It hit me like a ton of bricks, because I felt like I've gotten lazy with his oral hygiene. I mean, I hand him the toothbrush, I try to get him to rinse, I try to help him brush, but he usually bites my hand. So I've gotten a little lazy, and I felt so terrible. But the more I thought it through, I was like, all right, why are you feeling so terrible? Well, of course, number one, I don't want him to have to go through that process. I mean, they're going to have to sedate him. There's no way they can extract 4 teeth with him being conscious. So I'm a little nervous, of course, about the whole procedure. And then number two, his beautiful smile. You know, I'm just thinking about the loss of his teeth when he used to be so vigilant about taking care of his teeth. He was unbelievable about it. And so it's the loss of the functions, of course, that he used to be able to do himself. And then I think just, grief over the changes that are just real, and they're just part of, certainly they're part of life. The losses, the changes, is something we all have to deal with, whether you're a caregiver or not. But it helped me to just recognize that the guilt was really not helping anything, and the grief is something I have to deal with. And I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with it today. I'm doing my morning connection with God, with nature, and with all of you. And so I need to shed some tears. Sometimes that's the only thing we can do, is just let it out and cry and feel it. And I need to trust that if I start to cry, I will stop. I used to think I'd never stop if I started, but we need to do it. So if anybody else is experiencing something and you're feeling guilty about it as a caregiver, see if it's really grief underneath. And if you would, just put in the comments how you're dealing with it. How are you dealing with the grief? We have to. We can't let it get stuck in our bodies, all right? So let's let it out. Let's forgive ourselves. Let's forgive the situation, and do our best to just love ourselves and our loved ones right where they are.